Hi, this is Chaitanya Sambhara, faculty at the College of Business, University of Texas Arlington. And I'm here with the first and original Dr. Sambhara, Dr. Prakash Sambhara, who happens to be my uncle, which is my father's younger brother. His story is a fascinating story where he came from a very humble village background all the way to PhD in West. He went to University of Toronto for his PhD and then settled in the US on extraordinary ability visa, the EB1 visa, and from a person who had to sell his motorcycle to afford his flight ticket to this day. We'll get his entire story on his journey from that to this day when he has been a very successful immigrant story in the US.
Thank you, Chaitanya, for the introduction. Okay, let's start.
Okay, so please tell me about the kind of schooling you had. You were born and raised in a very small town in Anaparthi, right?
Yeah.
But Anaparthi to this day is a very small town. So what was your schooling like?
Okay, so for the school and for the elementary school, our school never had a building.
You went to school that had no building?
No building. So our school was conducted in market sheds. Mm-hmm. So we have the weekly market on Sundays, and the first thing in the morning.
What market was it? Like vegetable market?
It's a vegetable market.
Okay.
Yeah. So on first thing on the Monday morning, all the students will go there and first clean the sheds essentially, and that's where we had our classes. That continued until I finished grade 5, and after that, then I joined the high school.
Okay, so you said you had to clean the market on Monday for your classes to start.
That is correct.
That is the background of your schooling.
That was my school.
Okay, so and how did you do in school?
School I did very well. So then I went to high school and finished my high school, and I was a topper in my high school, so I was awarded a gold medal as well.
You're a gold medalist in high school?
High school.
Okay, and then what did you study for college?
And after that I moved to, because this is grade 10 and we have the grade 12, so the grade 11 and 12 I had to study in a different place. Mm-hmm. And there also I was a topper in my 10 plus 2 as well. Okay. And I took a BPC at that time.
What is BPC?
Biological Sciences major.
Okay. What were your aspirations when you were a student? What did you want to do in your career?
So my idea was to go to medical school.
You wanted to become a doctor?
I wanted to become a physician basically. Uh-huh. So, but the difficulty was we didn't have that kind of finances to go to medical school.
So you became a doctor, but an animal doctor, a veterinarian.
Yeah, that's correct. After that, I never looked back.
So you decided to go to the US to go for your master's and PhD, right?
That is correct.
But how did you decide to which university to apply?
Okay, the finances were pretty tight. So I used to go to US consulate to look at the Peterson guide. Those days we didn't have access, there was no internet those days. So I used to make note of all the schools.
So you used to go to the consulate and there was a Peterson guide?
The consulate has a library. Okay. And there they have the Peterson guides.
Which has the list of universities.
Which has all the list of all the universities in the US offering master's or PhD programs in various subjects. And having gone through all that, and I decided to apply to University of Wyoming for 2 reasons.
You applied to how many schools?
I applied to only one school.
Only one school?
One school.
Okay.
University of Wyoming.
Wyoming.
School. Why Wyoming? I didn't even know where the Wyoming was. The reason for applying to Wyoming is that they don't have the application fee. And the second thing is they offered me financial assistance right from the beginning. Okay. So those are the 2 reasons why I went.
By the way, I went to Wyoming 2 years ago to Laramie, where you studied, I guess. Even to this day, Laramie is a very, very small town. Okay, so it's hard to imagine what was it like in mid-80s? 1984. Okay, it must have been even smaller town.
That's correct.
Okay, so interesting. When I went there, I didn't want to live there.
Yeah, that was a college term. There's nothing else.
There's nothing else.
Very small.
Okay. What was your visa story like? What was your visa application like, and how did you get the visa?
Okay. Those days it was very difficult to get visas from the US consulate in Madras. And out of 100 people who had confirmed assistantships, only one person used to get the visa. So I applied for visa. I got rejected twice. And the third time, that was a fluke, essentially. I knew that I may not be getting a visa, but went there in any case, last chance. So I got the visa that time.
And when did you move to the US?
I left in August of 1984.
Okay,
And to buy the ticket, I didn't have money to buy the ticket.
you didn't even have the money to buy the flight ticket.
That is correct.
Okay.
So that time I had the motorbike, that is Rajdut actually.
Okay.
So
Those in India who still remember Rajdoot, it's like a motorcycle that makes noise,
yeah,
loud noise.
yeah. So I sold it.
You finished your masters at University of Wyoming, but then you moved to Canada instead, right?
Yeah.
For your
that's right.
PhD. Why did you apply for PhD in the US or not?
So I did apply for a PhD in various programs in the US, and in fact I got admissions in Penn State and Ohio State universities as well as UCLA. But the problem was, once I moved to US for my master's program, and I applied for a visa for my wife and my kid. That time I had one child already, and they rejected her visa multiple times. And they said that they will give her a visa if we leave our son behind, which I did not agree. Okay, so even though I had admissions, PhD admissions in the US, I realized that as long as I'm in the US and I will not be get my family to the US, so I had to look elsewhere for my PhD programs, and the closest is Canada. So I applied to University of Toronto, and they gave me admission in University of Toronto for my PhD. So that is the primary reason I moved to Canada.
Canada. Okay.
And after moving to Canada, and my wife and a child, that time I had a second child too, they applied for a visa. They got their visas in 3 months.
But then I have been a PhD student myself, and I know that PhD stipends are limited, but you had to survive not just for yourself, but you had to survive with a wife and 2 kids. So how did you get by through your PhD program?
Get to get by, actually my wife used to do babysitting the other children.
Okay.
So that's why we were able to get by during my PhD program. In the meantime, and we applied for immigration to Canada, and we received the permanent resident status.
As a PhD student, you got your green card.
As a PhD student, we applied.
Okay.
And then I applied, and we received the permanent resident status in Canada. And then subsequently we became Canadian citizens in 1992.
Okay. Okay. And then what did you do after that?
And once I finished my PhD, I joined Sanofi Pasteur, that's a vaccine company in Toronto as a scientist. And that's how I started my career in the mainstream immunology.
Okay. So you worked for a vaccine research company in Canada. Then how did your transition to the US and CDC come about?
Okay. I came to know that CDC was looking for a qualified immunologist to start a program in influenza immunology.
What visa did you come to the US then?
We have a visa, it's called a free trade visa, or we have the NAFTA.
So trade NAFTA, TN visa.
TN visa.
Okay.
So I came on TN visa to US to start my job at CDC.
And this time you were able to bring your whole family with you?
That is correct.
Okay.
Because we all came, my wife has a TN visa for herself, the children came as dependents for me.
Okay.
I joined in CDC on April 23rd, 2000.
2000. So you came in April 2000. And when did you apply for your green card?
I applied for a green card probably towards the end of 2000.
So within a few months?
Within a few months.
Okay, and what green card category did you apply for?
So I applied for under extraordinary ability EB1 category.
Okay.
By then I had about 40 publications.
Okay, so this is important. So you applied for extraordinary ability green card. Okay, and then what was the most important criteria for you to claim extraordinary ability? What was your profile like?
Okay, So for EB1 category, one should have a number of research publication in international journals, and they have to have international stature and being invited to participating or chairing the conferences and whatnot. So I had all those I met all of the qualifications. And I had about 40 publications in very high-profile journals, and I had about 10 patents.
You had 40 publications and 10 patents at the time.
At that time.
And how many of these publications came from your PhD program and industry?
Okay, I published from my PhD programs about 12 publications.
12. You, as a doctoral student, you published 12 papers.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And where did you publish those papers?
And I published in high-profile journals like Nature, Science, Cell.
You publish in Nature. Okay, so those who don't know, Nature, Science, and Cell in Sciences are the best journals in the world, and they are extremely hard journals to publish your papers in. And you were able to publish in those journals while as a doctoral student, and you had 12 publications in total.
In total.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So and then you also had publications from industry as well.
Right.
Okay. So totaling that, you said you had 40 publications.
There were 40 publications. When by that time I was able to apply for my green card.
Once you applied for green card at end of 2000, how long did it take for you to get your green card?
Okay. During those times, we had two steps for the green card process. One is what is called I-140 approval. The second thing is 485 adjustment of status.
It's the same today still.
Yeah. So by I-140 was approved within a year.
Okay, it took 1 year.
It took 1 year. 2001 it was approved, and then we filed for adjustment of status in 2001, towards the end of 2001, and I recall that we received our green cards in 2002.
So it took just 2 years for you to get your green card.
That's correct.
On extraordinary ability green card category. So now you have been at CDC for 21 years, right? So what do you do now at CDC?
Actually, I had the immunology group at CDC and oversee all the activities related to all the immunology related to influenza infection or vaccination.
So you are developing vaccines at CDC?
Okay, yes. So we develop vaccines, and there's only one component of what we do, and actually we do a lot of fundamental research, and we work with multiple academic institutions as well as clinical trials, and also with the industry too.
And how many people have you mentored over these years at CDC, over 21 years?
Yeah, I mentored over 100 people.
100 people have trained under you?
Yeah, yes, they were trained under me as undergrad students, or graduate students, or postdoctoral fellows, or scientists.
That means 100 people over 21 years, so at any given year you roughly had 5 to 6 people?
5 to 6 people always, yes.
Always?
Always.
Always had 5 to 6 people are getting trained under you?
That's
here?
Right. That's right. And a lot of them occupied in very senior level positions, both in the government, academia, as well as industry.
Okay. And where do these people come from? Are they all from here, or they come from all over the world?
Yeah, we have students, postdoctoral fellows from all over the world, and we have people from India, people from Zimbabwe, Ghana, and of course from Canada and the US, so all over.
So all over the world.
All over the world.
In all these years in your career, you have had many successes, it seems like. But do you have any regrets in your career so far?
Regret in the sense because of I wanted to be a physician, okay, as a child.
You wanted to be a doctor?
I wanted to be a doctor, but unfortunately due to circumstances I could not do that. Because of financial constraints, and again the thought came after my PhD. Actually, I want to get back to medical school again.
After PhD, you wanted to go to medical school?
Yes, I wanted to go to medical school after PhD.
Okay.
But that time I have already two boys, and who are in primary and high school essentially. So then my wife said, okay, she told me that ever since she married me, I have been a student, so it's enough. If you really want to do the medical school, instead you make your children
doctors. Okay, so you should rather focus on making your children doctors.
After, yes, of course, then I focused on them and I directed them essentially. Both of my children are
Doctors now?
doctors now. One is a pulmonologist and a critical care physician. The other one is a retina specialist.
So your regret was actually overcome now, has overcome now.
Oh yes,
Okay.
that is there. But as far as science, I love science. Whatever I do, I love what I do really.
Okay.
So I had my own reputation in my scientific field, and people do respect what my how I contribute, and what the contribution I made to science.
Okay. All right, Dr. Prakash Sambhara, thank you for sharing your story. It is a great story, full of struggles. We could not discuss all your struggles of being here, but you were persistent, and yours is actually a great success story. So thank you for talking to me.
Okay, thank you. Okay.